within a room I can do. Brighter day for me and you. The best part of waking up is in your cup.
Sounds good to me.
I think that's a fitting way of chiming in, I suppose. I guess we'll see how that all plays out. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Galtopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report, brought to you by Tim Snortons, always salty. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, how you guys doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing well. Alright, so, nothing in particular as it pertains to PSAs or anything like that. So I think we can just get right into the broadcast. You might get, when this comes out, it should be almost a full week of broadcasts, hopefully. If not, be pretty close, because I'm trying to make sure that we're on the straight and narrow leading into April, so I can get you guys into this board meeting, give you guys an idea, and then I'm going to jump over to the second channel for a little while and get caught up on some stuff and refresh myself with a bunch of things. So that's a thing. But we should generally have a good time though, leading up to that point there. I shouldn't be over there too long, but I need to start getting a foothold back in there, and I need to better manage my time if I'm going to try to do both. Alright, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so that's that. I know I said it wasn't going to be much of a PSA, but it turned out to be one. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two videos that will make up our broadcast, both brought to us by Burnell, DSP. First video, Drama Queen versus Drama Queen. The truth is the best insult and the thinnest skin. This is from March 8th of 2020. The second and last video to round out our broadcast, DSP, new mods are needed. DMCA takedown against DSPArchives. There was another detractor Twitter account that was taken down as well, which sucks. Which sucks actually quite a bit. And that comes, and supposedly there was a third, and that right there is from March 9th of 2020, our current year of now. At the time that I'm recording this, I heard that there was a couple of people considering in detractor Twitter to actually just start protecting their accounts, which might be a good idea, at least for the time being, until this thing blows over. The whole concept of DMCA on Twitter is it's just a really broken kind of system, and it leaves itself open to be taken advantage of, and that's why we're where we're at now. Whether DSP is tied to it or not, who could say? This could be some cloak and dagger gay ops by someone else to have people shit on DSP, kind of continue to throw logs on the fire. Maybe excuse me, maybe it is DSP just doing it from his pig pen with the help of other people. Who could say? To be honest with you, just because Phil didn't do it himself doesn't mean that he didn't have knowledge of it. And Phil has this very interesting mental pignosis where, oh, I didn't do it. I physically didn't have my hand on the mouse and keyboard, so I didn't do it, but I may have instructed someone to do it. But that makes me clean though, because it was a hands-off type situation. I just gave the order, but I didn't actually do it. I didn't actually tell the person, or I didn't force the person into doing it. They came to me and said, hey Phil, we're gonna do this for you. Or hey Darkside Phil, we're gonna do this for you. And I said, oh, whatever. I didn't actually say yes, I didn't actually say no, so that doesn't make me liable. Stuff like that. But Phil's a scumbag, so it is what it is. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into the broadcast at hand. And whatnot, I won't hold you guys up too much longer. And hopefully we can have a good time with this, and we'll keep pushing forward. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report, and this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes, a GTG, Networking Productions. You guys all know the slogan. I don't smell no bacon cooking. But we're going to get right on that. We're going to get right on that right now, actually. I'm not going to try to... I'm not going to drag this out. I'll see you guys in a few.
At Tim Snortons, we have what you need to make it through your day. Need breakfast? You got it. Lunch or dinner? Made to order, just the way you want it.
Delicious.
Thirsty? Try our famous ice fap. A nice latte? Or a classic roast. And don't forget dessert, like our signature Snort Bits.
Oh, it was good.
Tim Snortons. We've got you covered.
With the sky, but now lightly like your last result. It's not an accident that no one hears you cries at your last dream seems to deserve. You'll never see it coming.
Time to play the game.
You see that my mind is the best for life. You're done. But the time it did you, you're not surprised. I'm coming. But you, my game's always the best of mine. You're spending. But the that you didn't catch it in time.
Maybe you see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
Okay.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the first video that will make up our broadcast, brought to us by Burnell, DSP. Drama Queen versus Drama Queen. The truth is the best insult in the thinnest skin. This is from March 8th of 2020, our current year of gout. Let's get it.
Hey, so Richard Review Tech USA claims he wants to interview me on his podcast. No, I have no interest in being on any podcast, especially because you explicitly say in your tier you want me to basically talk about my side of the story. There's no side of any story. There's no drama going on. There's nothing that's anyone's fucking business, honestly. So no, I'm not going on your podcast. You want to go to drama cast, you can do it to your fucking self and leave me out of it. Alrighty then. Let's see. So Anonymous 5.
Now, as you guys know, I already went over this. It wasn't breaking when I did it, but I had already gone over this. So I'm hoping that as I go over this one, if anything that I missed previously, we'll be able to catch. I think, and I don't think, I actually kind of know this, to be honest with you, that Phil understands what Rich is talking about when giving his side of the story. And really what it means is giving his side of the detractors, like the detractor story, right? Like how he basically what Rich wants, or wanted, I should say, was for Darkside Phil to come onto his podcast and basically regurgitate his history, right? Regurgitate his history, his life story, if you will, on his podcast, which isn't going to do well for Phil because obviously there's going to be detractors in the chat, and obviously there'll be detractors that are willing to put money behind it. Excuse me. And they're just going to call him out on every, they're going to call him out, at every chance they get. On top of that, because Rich is, believe it or not, he's somewhat entrenched into this DSP shit. Even if he couldn't get the chat live, which you would think Rich would fight for that. Maybe he won't, but you would think he would. Even if it is just a recorded video like the Quarterings was, I mean, there's more than likely to be more people to come to that video and interact with that video, meaning not only likes and dislikes, but also commenting, probably multiple times to be honest, to point out this, to point out that, to point out this, to point out that. And then Rich would do a follow-up where he would go through the comment section, sorry about that, and actually point out the indiscretions, you know what I'm saying? And it's not going to work in the Phil's advantage. And Phil realizes that. You know what I'm saying? And Phil doesn't even want to go up there and try to tell his whole story because Phil knows it's a lie. He knows that if he went up there, he's going to lie through his teeth. The follow-up will pretty much prove that. The follow-up podcast that Rich would do by himself, or he would invite, any detractor who was willing to go up there. They would be able to point all that out in the story. You know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, Rich has what? 700, 800,000 subs? That doesn't mean anything, but his views, his reach, if you will, is a lot larger than Phil's, so to speak. So nothing's going to come out of that at all. Like, Phil's literally going to lose outside of his $800 to $1,000 appearance fee. There is no win-win on this for Rich and Phil. There's nothing, and if Rich doesn't understand why Phil hates him so far, which a couple of you requested would I go over some would I actually do a video on Rich? I'll go ahead and do one better. If I can find all the videos that I'm looking for, I'll give you guys 5 whole days of Rich content. You know what I mean? I'll give you 5 straight days of Rich content if I can find all the videos that I'm looking for. So look out for that. Because, yeah, if I can find the rest of these Andoyle videos, then yeah, we can make that a week type thing. I'm not sure how I'm going to structure it yet, but what I'm thinking is, because I said I was going to mirror those videos on the channel anyway, I would literally give you guys the mirror, and then the next day, that video would be me actually going over that video. So you guys actually get to see the video one day, then you guys get my response the next day. And then I would finish up with, more likely with the memology video, and I think Mighty D did a video, maybe even 2, on Rich back in the day, and I would loop all that up into one big video as well. So that's something to look out for. As long as I find all the components needed to make my work of art. Every time Phil says that cracks me up. So anyway, that's my initial thoughts though, but let's go ahead and get into it.
Dollar Tipper says, I think Rich really wants you on his podcast. I do too. I think Rich really wants me on his podcast. I don't think Rich is really going to have me on his podcast. I don't care about Rich's podcast. As I said many times over the years, Rich is a drama queen. Rich will talk nicely about you when it benefits him, and then he will talk shit about you when it doesn't. He will constantly cover drama, because that's all he does, that's all he gets attention for. He doesn't do gameplay, he doesn't do anything like that, he's just drama. I want nothing to do.
Phil did that too, though. He did that about Machinima, he did that about Curse. Well, no, I wouldn't say he shitted on Curse, actually. I think Curse was probably one of the only business arrangements that he's ever been in that he never actually shit-talked them. But I could be wrong on that. But Machinima, Blip, past mods, I mean, shit, John and Howard, theoretically. He shit talks Twitch, when he left the first time, and he talked all that shit about them, and how they weren't a good platform for gamers, and it was all just e-begging, and so on and so forth, and then he went back to e-beg himself. So, on that level, he's no different than Rich. In actuality, he might actually be worse.
With Rich and his drama. All he's going to do is ask me about personal shit that I'm not going to talk about on his fucking podcast. So, no, I'm not going on his podcast.
Rich is a whore. I'm sorry, Rich is a whore.
I have another $3 anonymous tip for someone still talking about review tech as if I'm going to give a fuck. No, I'm not going to talk about him at all, so you're wasting your time and your money. But I do thank you for the $3 tip regardless.
Fuck! What the fuck? It didn't do anything. I hate this fucking lag, dude. Bullshit.
I parried! It's timed because of the lag. I timed it perfectly, and then it hit late. The move actually hit late because of the lag. Lame. How do I know I timed it perfectly? Because I'm good at this game and you're not, Solo LM Slayer. That's how I know. You know, I've been playing this since it came out in arcades, and you're just someone sitting in a stream chat criticizing the person playing. So, there you go. That's how I know.
I am a former...
It is funny how he says that, but yet, in the week or two prior, in our salty Street Fighter sessions, if you will, SSS, he bitched and complained about how he was playing all this Third Strike and he hates that game. He hates how it plays. He hates how it runs. He hates how it's emulated for online, so on and so forth. But then a week or two later, now we're big up again saying, well, I played it from the very beginning and I got way more experience and you're just some asshole giving me money on my stream while I actually have the experience. But I would have to, I argue, I would say Third Strike is probably he's probably the weakest at Third Strike. If you think about the 4 games of Street Fighter that are online, which is what, Super Turbo, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, I think, or it's Championship Edition, I think it's Turbo. And then Third Strike and then Alpha 3, I would say Third Strike is probably his weakest. But he has all this experience, right? Because he played it since it came out in arcades. Sure, alright.
Professional fighting game player in the capacity, not that I did it for a living. I was a high-level tournament player, 4th place at EVO, top player of Street Fighter 2 that year overall in the country. And then after that, years I had won, qualifiers, various qualifiers for EVO, and, done pretty good in tournaments overall in Street Fighter 2 over the years.
Now Solo LM Slayer is trying to stroke his E-dick. He says, you don't know who I am. I play the game more than you do. Ah, okay. Alright. Show us your many accolades, please, sir. Show us who you are. Reveal your true identity to all of us. Remove the mask, because it was me, Austin! It was me all along! What the fuck are you talking about? So, if you are a content creator, and you want to try to get someone on an interview, or a podcast, or a stream, or you want to get another content creator involved in your stuff, what is the best way to go about it? I'll tell you. As someone who's been 11 years in the business, you contact them via the business email and or the way that they are supposed to be contacted and ask them behind the scenes if they'd be interested. You don't go on their stream in the middle of a fucking regular nightly stream, a weekly thing they do, and throw a cheer at them asking for them to be on a podcast. You want to know what that is? Drama. It's called, I went on Phil's stream, I offered to be on my podcast, and he declined. So, no. What happened is, you didn't even contact me properly, you wasted my fucking time, and you tried to put me on the spot for drama purposes. I don't play that game, I'm smarter than you, and I'm not going to do stupid shit like that. So...
You're smarter than him, and you're not going to fall into it. Despite the fact that you talked about it not only this night, but the next night, if I remember correctly, so you did fall into the trap. Secondly, it was merely a proposal. You know what I mean? You could be like, oh, well, I'll get back to you on that, Rich, or send me an email, Rich, or we can talk about it. That's all you had to do. You flat out said no. The reason why it was drama is because I, like yourself, knew that you were going to say no. That's what it comes down to. I think Rich knew it too. If he didn't, he's kind of silly, but I think we all knew that you were going to say no. You know what I'm saying? And in this situation, I'm sorry. If you thought this was going to be bait, then why couldn't you be the bigger man or bigger pig? You are the bigger pig, actually. Well, yeah, Rich has lost weight. He's still bigger than you, but you're both pigs. Whatever. Anyway, why couldn't you be the bigger person? I'm going to try to be generous about this. And just decline. Just be like, hey, Rich, I appreciate that, but nah, I'm not interested. I'll reach out to you, though, if I decide to change my mind in the future, but I'm not interested. Why couldn't you do that? So you want Rich to be professional. You want him to come at you in a very professional manner, a very respected manner. And even in declining that offer, right, which is all it was, or that proposal, all you had to do was be equally as respectable and just say no. You know what I'm saying? And this, ladies and gentlemen, comes back to this backhanded logic he has. He perceived what Rich did as disrespect. Even though Rich was pretty stupid giving him money, that's not necessarily disrespectful. A whore is a whore, but whatever. But Rich decides to give this guy money to ask him would he be willing to come on to his podcast. If Phil looked at that as being disrespectful, whatever, but then why couldn't he be the bigger person and be respectful when he declined the offer? Why do you have to stoop to his level? You're not better than Rich, and Rich is not better than you. You're both lol cows, right? Phil's the bigger one, but you're both lol cows. So why couldn't you just be the bigger person? Why couldn't you show that you're the bigger person by just declining the offer? instead of allegedly, right? I'm just talking about how Phil perceives Rich and how he perceives the situation, hypothetical pignosis, if you will. Why did you have to stoop down to his level? It doesn't make you look any better. It actually makes you look more resentful. You know what I mean? And that goes back to the Bill Burnell video with the Q&A, when Phil went, what, 10 minutes? I think it's like 10 minutes plus, just shitting on Rich. Absolutely shitting on him. It goes back to that, which only proves my point about the negative feelings that you have against Rich even all these years later. Because that video was back in 2017. We're in 2020. You know what I'm saying? There are these opportunities where he can show he's the bigger person. You know what I mean? Or he can show his professionalism, if you will, or his lack thereof. But whatever. That's what he did. He showed his lack thereof just a minute ago. But he had an opportunity to come out looking clean in the situation, and he didn't do it. He did it somewhat. I don't know. I'm probably giving him too much credit. But he showed a little bit of that during the Drunken Peasants. Like, he kind of handled that situation right. And then, yet again, he still figured out a way to screw it up. But he handled it right initially. But right here, he just stooped down to Rich's level, if one would consider what Rich did was disrespectful. It's very strange. It's very strange logic, if you will. And yet again, it just comes from this unbridled hatred for somebody who what? I mean, so he criticized you a couple times on some live streams and in some videos. So the fuck what? At the end of the day. I mean, Phil was the one who called Rich a whore. So a hoe gonna do what a hoe gotta do. So why would you be upset at that? Especially when you, Phil, beg for money all day, every day. I don't understand. DSP News.
That's what I mean, like, there's so many ways you could professionally go about doing something, but then people try to do drama shit like that. I don't play that game, you know? Maybe, if I had been contacted behind the scenes at some point about that, I would have considered it, but now there's no way I'm considering it, so.
No, what he was going to do, which is kind of what he was doing with the Drunken Peasants, you saw how I brought them up just a minute ago, and now I'm going to come back around, is he was going to send out feelers. He was going to basically listen to, if Rich had contacted him behind the scenes, yeah? And, Rich said he did, but, you know, take that for what you will. But let's say that Rich does contact him behind the scenes and Phil responds to it. Phil sits on it for a little while, and then he'll throw feelers out. Hey, guys, there's somebody, you know, considering on wanting to bring me onto their podcast. I'm not sure if I'm really going to do it. I'm not going to tell you guys who it is, but I'm going to go ahead and just throw that out there. Hey, I might consider going onto a podcast to hear my side, to speak about my side of the story, which wouldn't matter for anybody who's on his streams or watching his pre-streams because they've already heard his life story. So that wouldn't really matter either which way. But sometimes bringing an outside element helps, you know what I'm saying? It gives some variety to the content, right? And he would put the feelers out for that for a little while, and then eventually he would say Rich, and then he would wait and see how the balance weighs out on whether he should do it or whether he shouldn't. Now, it's going to be very obvious that people are going to want him to do it, right? And then Phil has to go ahead and weigh his options on that. He's going to milk them for some money, see what his thoughts are, and then eventually he would have canceled anyway like he did with the Drunken Peasants. It's obviously that's how it was going to go. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, he looks at the Drunken Peasants as nothing more than drama hounds, and they were going to fuck him, or at least that's what he thinks. Rich would have been the same way. Quartering was probably the best option, maybe, but even then it didn't matter because Quartering was willing to get on his knees for Phil. That whole interview came out to be total garbage. So I think that's how he would have played that out. He would have tried to milk Rich he would have, you know, put Rich on ice. He'd milk his pay pigs, and then he would see how much money he can get out of Rich. And if Rich isn't stupid, he knows he's gonna have to pay an appearance fee. And then when Phil doesn't get what he wants, meaning the stipulations, then he just goes ahead and leaves Rich high and dry, and then goes back to his audience, lays the whole situation out, because you know Rich is going to make a video probably, or he's going to mention it on a stream, and then Phil can go ahead and use that as justification. Oh, yeah, he made me this proposal. Yes, we talked behind the scenes a couple times and so on and so forth, but, you know, he was going to try to screw me over and make me look bad just like everybody else, and that's why I didn't do it. And then, if Rich is smart, Rich goes ahead, and then Phil will lie on Rich a bunch of times. Then Rich brings out the emails saying, or the correspondence, and be like, hey, no, this is what really happened. This is what really said. And then Phil just goes ahead and pisses on that turd and moves on. So just like what happened with the Drunken Peasants, it would have basically been like that. I would think Rich wouldn't put the emails behind a paywall like the Drunken Peasants did, but who could say?
Think of it this way. Imagine if I ran a restaurant and a reporter walks into my restaurant and says, "Oh, would you be on my show, or would you let me interview you for the show right now, drop everything you're doing?" No! I'm in the middle of work. What the fuck are you doing? You want to?
Well, no one does that though. They would, yeah, I could see them coming into your restaurant, which would be failing anyway, and would ask, "Hey, would you be willing to do an interview with us sometime?" No one's gonna walk in randomly and just ask to do an interview with you on the spot, unless it's like investigative reporting. Like maybe, for example, Phil, you haven't passed a health inspection in X amount of time, or people are reporting different types of foodborne illnesses, or shitty service, and it's starting to catch the local news's attention. Then you're gonna get hit on the spot with that. But other than that, what are you talking about? And it's funny too that Phil would reference that, because that would be considered a negative. You know what I'm saying? It would be considered a negative if a news crew walked in and put you on the spot to report on you about a particular situation. Whereas the positive is more often than not, the news network itself would actually call you in advance and be like, "Hey, would you guys consider doing this?" Or maybe a representative of that news affiliate would come in and ask you that. You know what I mean? They would ask for the manager or the owner and do something like that. But it's funny how when Phil makes these references, it's almost always in the negative, which either tells me there's a lack of life experience, or he literally looks at every aspect of life in the negative. But then he's mad that people take the King of Hate moniker, in air quotes, to heart and treat everything he does as lazy, insignificant, has no value, and he's merely just trying to scam people, when obviously that's what he's doing. But to finish my point, he says that everybody thinks of him in such a negative light, but look at how he thinks. Makes one think, right? DSP News.
Write me an email, send me a letter, call me, let me a voicemail, do something officially to ask for something. Don't just fucking interrupt what I'm doing and say I'm gonna drop everything for you. What the fuck's your problem? But again,
if that's the case, then why don't you just turn off notifications while you're playing? If that right there is bothering you, because what makes that any different than any other question or any other statement that someone attaches to a cheer or a tip? Just throwing that out there, Phil. I'm just throwing that out there.
It takes common sense. A lot of people don't have that, especially the drama queens don't have common sense, so I'm not surprised.
Rich is a whore. I'm sorry. Rich is a whore. That guy is such a two-faced fat piece of shit. He pisses me off. Like, I seriously hate people like that are so fucking dishonest and two-faced and will do anything to make a fucking nickel. He's disgusting.
What was that? I just showed you can give me a kick. Why did you give me a kick? What I can do? I parry, I do my move, it drops the move. I parry his move, he did cancel super. I just showed you can the game gives me low kick.
That Alex owned his ass. Good God, that hurt. That hurt. Yikes.
I didn't even fucking press kick. The game sucks online, dude. I hate Third Strike online. I told you, that's why I don't like playing that fucking guy. It's not fun playing him because I can't never get my fucking moves out or anything. Let me see if I can find kicking.
It's not fun playing. Rage quitted that lobby. Alright, so it's not fun to play that guy because I can't beat him. That's basically what he told you.
You can taste is salt.
Okay.
None of us should expect Phil to talk about his court date, though. That's just one of the things that's going about. And then now with the illness going around, the coronavirus or so on, or whatever they call it, C-19 or whatever. Now that that's a thing, I mean, his court date's going to be pushed back indefinitely. I think, though, there's another hearing with Mid-First Bank, because apparently Mid-First Bank has decided to push back, right? Shouts out to James Lesser for that one. Has decided to push back that, and LSB, by the way. Big ups to LSB. And base Oslo, because he talked about it a little bit too. Anyway, since it looks like Mid-First Bank has pushed back, and I guess there's a hearing on the 10th of April or the 15th. I think it's the 10th. I think it's on his wedding anniversary now that I think about it. Yeah, because Phil's birthday is on the 6th of April. And I think he got married on the 10th. So yeah, there's another hearing for Mid-First on the 10th, I think. And I think he has to show to that one. That's just a thing in itself. I think Nick Rekieta actually has a video out on that. I said I was going to go over the stream, the Nick Rekieta and Josh stream. I will. And I'll go over that video too. I think Nick Rekieta has 2 more videos on top of that. I'll bundle all that up, and we can talk about that, because that should be a good listen. But yeah, Phil's putting himself in a really rough spot, and if it wasn't for this situation going on currently, that might have saved his ass. And more importantly, that might actually force that hearing on April 10th to get pushed back even further. You know what I mean? So who could say how that's going to play out? But this goes back to something that Medicare has said on Twitter a couple months ago, that there's always some, like Phil, there's always some type of situation that comes up that helps Phil in some way, shape, or form. There's always something. It's the wildest thing. I mean, it really is. I would still never trade places with him, but there's always something. Like, who would have thought a pandemic would save Phil in his bankruptcy hearings? Who would have ever thought that'd be the thing? Yikes.
Alright, guys, I'm tired. I gotta get out. This is a long ass night. That's enough wins for me. Alright, guys, good stream this week. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys had fun. Thanks to everyone who contributed. We actually went up a lot of subs tonight, from what I saw. I'll do a final sub count here. We went down. What the fuck? We actually went way up, and now we went down again. I guess maybe it evens out. I don't know. Alright, guys, thank you to the top cheerer, Review Tech USA. Gee, thanks a lot, Rich. I'm not coming on your show ever. When you tip me, those are funds I can use immediately for important stuff. And the next week, I have a game I have to buy in Neo 2. I have payments I have to make as we approach the middle of the month. A lot of payments pop up for me. In particular, now tax season and everything. There's tax payments I have to make around the middle of the month. So, your tips help with that, because those funds can be used for that immediately.
Ayúdame, por favor. Es muy importante.
It was actually Snoutfoot who cheered to get stuff started today. Thank you very much, Snoutfoot, for the very first cheer of the stream. And he says,
Smoke weed every day.
very nice. You forgot the hey, 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 hey before the smoke weed every day, but that's acceptable. Either form is acceptable. So thank you, Snoutfoot. Alright, someone named Violent Ken tipped me $10. He says, Rich got his ego broken in half and was butthurt over 9,000 for Phil. It was Friday. That's absolutely right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure
Here, I have to kind of admit that Rich handled that shit poorly when Phil said no to him. He handled it poorly. Now, as I said previously, it could have been just buyer's remorse. We've all purchased something that we didn't need or we didn't really want, or it didn't work out. You can always return it, but with Phil, I mean, Rich could have charged it back, but he didn't. It is what it is. It is what it is. Rich did handle it poorly. On his stream, after Phil said no and talked shit or whatever, Rich lamented about that shit for another 10-15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes longer than it should have been. And then you end up getting on Twitter and lamenting about that shit. It don't look good. You know what I mean? It doesn't look good. As I said in the previous broadcast going over this, if you have bigger names, or sorry about that, the coof. If you have bigger names, right? Thank you. Appreciate it. Getting water on consignment. I didn't even ask for it. That's amazing. Anyway, if you have bigger names coming through, right? And you have more successful people than Phil coming onto your podcast, and you've already had successful people or well-known people, and you have even more lined up, then Phil is nothing more than just a backdrop. He's just a means to an end. As I take a sip, he doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. He's just something in between broadcasts. But the way Rich was kind of, I don't want to say crying about it, but the way he was bitching about it was like he really thought Phil was going to come on, and he thought he was going to really make this work. And that's just not the case. It's like being in a bad relationship. You know what I mean? Like, you need to just let that shit go. Just because you've been there for a long time or you're used to it doesn't make it good. And it doesn't mean it's worth fighting for. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how Rich acted like in that shit. It really made Rich look just silly. I wouldn't necessarily say it made him look terrible, but it definitely made him look silly. I won't say pathetic, but definitely silly. And all you did is give Phil even more high ground. So in a lot of ways, even though the situation is slightly different, this is drunken peasants all over again. This is drunken peasants all over again. And And Phil has actually, if you guys want to keep a tally, Phil actually has more wins over other people who, air quotes, were looking to take advantage of him than he ever has over a detractor, or any detractors, or detractor community as a whole. He's catching wins off all these guys. Drunken Peasants wanted him on. Phil lied about it. They said that they have the emails. Oh, I'm going to read out some of the emails on this particular podcast that they had. Read 2 or 3 pages of nothing. And then, oh, well, we'll follow that up later. And then filled it with a bunch of other shit that no one cared about. Then said, oh, well, we'll do another podcast and we'll talk about it if, I don't know. It seemed to be behind a paywall of some type, whatever. But that ended up panning out to be nothing because Phil came out and released the emails. So that's the L. That was the L that Drunken Peasants had to take. Now with Phil, not only did you give him money to ask him to come onto your podcast, but he shit talked you like 2 days in a row, and he's got your money, and he's got you bitch made. Sorry, and he's got you mad on the remainder of your podcast and on Twitter over it. Yikes! And I hate, and like I said, I've been accused of giving Phil too much. I wouldn't say accused. I've been told that I give Phil too much credit at times. But if you look at the scenario that way, that was clear wins. I'm sorry. It pains me to say this. You know this. It pains me to say it, but those are clear wins. I'm not willing to completely shit on Phil. Excuse me. To completely shit on Phil just so he doesn't get a win. You know what I'm saying? Or try to downplay his win. He got a win there. Either which way. I think Phil could have handled the situation better to make it look like a clear win, but at the end of the day, a W is a W. Jesus Christ.
Some people will be talking about this today, even though in reality it's nothing interesting at all. It's not news. But you know how people want to make drama and controversy and over-dramatize stuff. So here's what happened. Last night, I'm here on my stream. I'm playing Throwback Street Fighter. Okay, I'm having fun. You know, I always do. Once a week, I play Throwback Street Fighter. And we have a good time doing it, okay? So I'm playing Throwback Street Fighter.
Except when you were getting your ass handed to you in Third Strike. I have to throw that out there because that's what's happened. That is what happened, and we saw that. So, just saying.
And all of a sudden, Rich from Review Tech USA, which is hilarious because the guy doesn't fucking review tech anymore. All he does is drama videos. Comes on my stream, does a 1,000-bit cheer to try to get my attention. Okay? And he says, Phil, I want you to come on my podcast.
I mean, in Rich's defense, not that I take any pleasure in doing this, but, I mean, you don't do raw Let's Plays. It's all hand-holding and begging. Just saying, you guys are kind of in the same pool of things if we're the same piss-ass, ball pool if we're going to go about it that way. You know what I'm saying? You guys kind of go together when it comes to that.
Man, I'm doing a podcast. I want you to come on my podcast now. And we want to get your side of things. So let's get you on the podcast right now. And I'm like...
He didn't say get you on the podcast right now. He asked if you were interested in coming on the podcast. Yet again, you're lying on him. And it's not necessarily fair for me to let that happen.
So, first of all, I'm in the middle of my Street Fighter stream, okay? And I'm like, having fun, and everyone's having fun, right? And I'm like, why?
Are you saying that you only have fun in your Street Fighter streams and everything else is just utter garbage? I'm just throwing it out there. Would you have said the same thing if he showed up to Donkey Kong 64? Would you say the same thing if he showed up to Minecraft? Like, you know what I'm saying? You might just want to clarify things like that when you say it.
With this guy, first of all, come on my stream like this and do this like this, right? If you're a professional and you're interested in having someone on your show, okay, here's what you do. You contact the person behind the scenes, right? Whether it's maybe you send a tweet, maybe you send an email to the registered business address, or maybe you send a personal email, because I have an address, darksidephil@hotmail.com. Everyone knows this. I'm not a hard guy to reach, all right? And you say, hey, I got a proposal.
Yeah, but see, a lot of stuff goes to your spam folder, and you've been known for just dumping your spam folder without looking at stuff in it. You've admitted to this. So under reasonable circumstances, if Rich did go through the air quotes proper channels, excuse me, it's more often than not that his email got trashed. Or if you even saw in the header that, this email from Rich from ViewTech USA, I would say 9 times out of 10 you would dump it without even reading it. I can almost guarantee that. So does that really hold any water at all?
Story I'm interested in having you on my show, and here's what we'll talk about, and yada, 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 all that stuff, okay? That's the way you go about it, okay? It's common sense, and it's also common courtesy, right? You don't just come into someone's already scheduled live stream and say, oh, will you be on my show? I need you on my show. Let's talk about it. Let's derail your whole fucking stream right now to talk about my content. Okay? No. That's not how you do it. It's actually insulting, and it's a slap in the face to do it that way. It's very unprofessional. Okay? So that's number one. So maybe if
this is DSP positive, by the way.
Rich had come to me outside of a live stream and talked to me behind the scenes about it, we could talk a little bit about it and see how we could go about it. All right? We be adults about it, It's how normal people act. Number two,
I can agree with that to an extent because Rich shouldn't have given you money. He really shouldn't have. And I think because he threw money at Phil, it made Phil think, oh, I'm in control, which turns out Phil was. So I from an adult standpoint, you throw money at every person who you want to interact with. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me reword that. For everybody to anybody and everybody that you want to do business with, would you throw money at them like that? Now, granted, I am someone of the firm belief, right, that if you were in a Starbucks or SnortBucks, if you will, and you ran into an executive of a certain company, like someone that you recognize, and you offered to pay for their coffee or whatnot, so you could pick their brain for a few minutes or so on and so forth, then I agree with that. And there's a lot of people who are willing to speak to you under those terms. Okay, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee and ask you a couple of questions? I mean, if you have the time. If you don't, I completely understand, and we can always do it another time. I'm a firm believer in that, because you can grasp a lot in 5 or 10, 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But, no, I won't say but. I mean, I am a firm believer in that. When it comes to the Rich situation, it's not something that he had to throw money at Phil for. Eventually, people in his chat would have brought Phil's attention to it, and the correspondence could have started from there. Yet again, that's my only main problem with how Rich went about it. How he handled it is a whole nother situation in itself, which we've already spoken on. But how he initially started it up by giving him money, it wasn't a good look. It wasn't a good look. I can understand why Rich did it, because if you want a response out of Phil, you have to throw money at him. But that doesn't mean he should have done it.
I know all about Rich. I know about his content. All right? This guy used to be a guy who used to make very meaningful YouTube videos. He used to do a lot of technology reviews, and he used to actually play games and review them. He used to do all this stuff back in the day. For the past, 5, 6, 7 years, all he does is drama videos. That's it. Like, all he does, here's the news today, and I talk about the news, and I spin it, here's my take on the dramatic of the news, and it's garbage. It's fluff. I've talked about this many times over the years. It's fluff content creation, okay? There's no meaning behind it. All it is meant to stir up drama. This guy has made many, many videos about me over the years that are not nice videos. The guy tries to delve into my personal shit constantly whenever he feels it benefits him.
Rich is a whore.
Okay? That's how he is. That's the kind of guy he is. And it's funny because there have been times over the years that he's been nice to me. And the next thing you know, let me do another negative video on Phil because it's a slow news day. So let me talk about, he's done stupid things like, Phil's YouTube is falling apart and what's going on, man? It's like, what are you talking about?
He wasn't wrong, though. At the time, when Rich said that was 2007, I think. Phil was still pulling over 1 million plus views. Maybe closer to 2. Pretty sure it was closer to 2. But now, Phil, if you look at Phil's stats, if one was inclined to do so, he's barely pulling down 800,000 views a month. That right there that's a huge drop. I mean, you had already fallen quite a bit, and at the time Rich decided to go over and look at that, I mean, you had fallen quite a bit. Like I said, I think Phil was somewhere between 2, maybe 3 million views a month at that time. Now, like I said, he's barely pulling down 800,000. Barely. And if you look at that trajectory, he's only going to keep falling. He's only going to keep falling. So, I mean, it wasn't like Rich was wrong for saying that. Anyway.
It's complete nonsense, okay? It really is. It's complete shit. And that's why I don't pay attention to any of it, okay? I don't pay attention to the nonsense. I ignore it. This guy has been an asshole.
You don't pay attention to any of the nonsense. You don't pay attention to his content, yet you know what his content is, because you just told us that. but yet you don't pay any attention to it. That's like the whole detractor thing too. Oh, I don't pay attention to what any of those idiots do. I don't care what they say. It doesn't mean anything, so on and so forth. Oh yeah, I keep up with detractor content. I know what's being said about me. I know what's going on over there in their videos and on detractor Twitter. You gotta pick one or the other, man. You gotta pick one or the other.
To me many times over the years. And he thinks that just because, alright, just because he comes into my stream and cheers, that I'm just going to forget all about that. Right? I'm going to forget about, oh, you know, the 5-6 years you've been a complete jackass to me.
I thought we don't hold grudges. Just like how, excuse me. Just like how we don't hold grudges or anything against Pro Jared. We were just calling him out on that situation. Oh, I thought we don't hold on to grudges for more than like 6 months. He talking about shit from 5 or 6 years ago. Which we all knew that was a lie because look at how he reacted to the helicopter company. Look at how he reacts to John and Howard. At least on the outside. On the inside, it's a completely different thing. Now, he's slowly but surely making himself look more pathetic and more weak than Rich. And that's why one could make the argument that Rich ended up winning. Rich lost the battle, but he won the war in the end. Because Phil's acting like a complete and total ass clown right now over something that should have been done last night. That should have been done and over with. You know what I mean? You don't need to be lamenting about shit like this. Oh well.
Me. And I'm just going to forgive that and say, oh, because you cheered, yes, let me go on your podcast. In addition, the hilarious part about this, tell your side of the story. What story? There's no fucking story going on. Anything that you're making up or fabricating, it's your horseshit, controversial nonsense you're doing for your own.
Yeah, that actually is a good point given by Snort Burnell about why you missed the court date. But let's be honest, we all know why Phil missed the court date. You know what I mean? If I argue that he never had any intention of showing up anyway, and that and Phil not paying attention to detractors have kept up with the detractors so much that he, one, asked for a second look not long after he initially filed his bankruptcy papers. I wouldn't be surprised now if he's trying to finagle himself into some situation where, hey, you're not going to make Chapter 7. You might as well just apply for 13 now before you're forced into it or worse. That's just my surmise, though. That's my theory. It's not necessarily a Theo theory, but that's my thoughts.
Own fucking benefit. You're using stuff going on in my life that's none of your fucking business for your personal benefit. You're a scumbag. Okay.
But, I mean, yet again, it's something that you're going to say on your pre-stream or you have said on your pre-stream before anyway. So it's already public knowledge. How's he a scumbag? If that's the case, then that makes you a whore. Because you put out the information willingly for shekels. And not even big money, just for shekels. So if someone else wants to come in and take advantage of you, which is what Rich was going to do, I mean, how can you be mad at it? I mean, you are going to charge Rich an appearance fee anyway. So it's not like you're not going to be compensated for your time. I don't know. I'm trying to think about this from a logical business standpoint, but whatever.
You are. You're a scumbag. You take people's plights, you take people's bad situations, and you turn them into dramatic, toxic content for your own channels and streams. And you
like what you did with Pro Jared? Like with the tweets? And then all of those pre-streams where you were talking about it and acting like you held some type of moral grounds about certain things, like the sanctity, the sincerity, and the what's another word I'm looking for? And the I don't know, the sentimentality of marriage, like shit like that. You mean all of those type of things that you were shitting on Pro Jared for weeks until the whole Pro Jared train, or hate train, if you will, kind of ran out of steam or gave up, and then all of a sudden you stopped talking about it too? You mean like that? I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, he's a proprietor of bullshit as well. You could say that at least Rich was straightforward about it. I don't know.
I think that that's something that's beneficial to the planet. It's not. Nothing you do is beneficial to the planet. All right?
Nothing that you do is beneficial to the planet. Nothing that I'm doing is beneficial to the planet. So what? It's supposed to be for entertainment purposes, is it not? And you'd be on a much larger platform to go ahead and speak your words about it. Now that I think about it, I think Quartering only has like what, 300,000 subs, something along those lines. I think Rich has a bigger sub base than Quartering does. Quartering has much more consistent reach though. Like his viewership is way more consistent than Rich's is. But that's neither here nor there. Semantics, if you will.
It's toxic garbage. It doesn't belong on YouTube. It doesn't belong on the planet at all. It shouldn't exist, all right? What I strive to do with my streams every day is something positive and fun. I play a game. I share that experience with people. We have fun conversation. That's productive. That's constructive. Every day, I get people coming by and saying, Phil, thanks for distracting me from the crappy nonsense going on in my life right now, because we had a good time on stream today. We enjoyed a game. I got to see you play, whatever. You know? That's, that's the kind of stuff that I put out there. That's what I focus on. That's what I want to create. If anything, there'll be a ton of toxic people saying shit about me forever, but at least I'll have a legacy of fun content and positive content that people can watch on the internet forever. All right?
No, not really. To be honest. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, boy. All right, here's the thing. And I'm going to try to give you guys a bit of a differential between detractor content and then Phil's content. Phil overvalues his content. It's the people who watch detractor content put the value on detractor content. There's a difference. Phil thinks if he overvalues his content, that the public at large will do it. Whereas detractor content is already valued, it's already been appraised, if you will, by the audience or by the population at large, and they are the ones who put the value on it. There's the difference. So if the population, right, who are not detractors, by the way, I want you guys to think about this. Don't think about it too hard. It's not that important. The population who are not detractors, who know of Darkside Phil and know him as a laughingstock, and knowing him to be terrible at games and to be a shit human being in general. Well, what if something ever happened to Phil? What do you think the legacy would still be on him? It would be just that, and that's at the population at large. At the population at large. When you look at detractor content, either you have people who break it down, you have people who make it funny, or you have people that make it palatable and entertaining. And that's the detractor legacy. Which one do you think, ladies and gentlemen, outweighs the other? He's already at a disadvantage just on his side of it. He's already at a disadvantage. The scales of relevancy, if you will, are already teetering against him, if not outright dropped on him. And he don't see that. And don't be wrong, I'll be the first one to tell you that if you don't think your content has meaning, then no one else will either. You know what I'm saying? You put in what you put into it is what you'll get out of it. But Phil puts out utter garbage. Utter trash. He's not even willing to look at it himself. That's why those retrospectives pretty much circulate around vlogs. It's utter garbage. The gameplay is utter garbage. And he knows that. So how is he going to sit there and acknowledge that it's garbage, but then try to keep feeding it to people and saying that it's good and it's worthwhile? I'm sure anybody and everybody who's ever made any type of content has had people who's reached out to him and said, hey, your content has helped me get through a tough day. Your content has helped get me through a tough time in my life. So on and so forth. I can understand that. I think we all can. We can understand that. But in the larger scale, in the you know what I'm saying, on the larger scope of it all, it's still garbage. It's still garbage. It was garbage before detractors showed up. It'll be garbage long after. That's the truth. That's being blatantly honest about it. Well, it's obvious, but it's certainly blatantly honest about the situation. No one's gonna disagree with that. Oh well. DSP news.
That's the kind of guy I am. I didn't leave a giant cesspool of fucking shit because all I do is talk about drama every day and get into other people's business to make personal benefit for myself. So, fuck no. I would never be on Review Tech USA's fucking podcast. In no fucking instance whatsoever would I ever waste my time on it.
Even though we spoke about Toby Turner, Mitch Dyer, PewDiePie, Markiplier, Ninja, iJustine, Pro Jared, Rich himself. You want me to keep naming people, Phil? Because I can. He sat there and talked shit about all those people. And he thinks, oh, only because I did it a little bit, it doesn't soil what is my overall content or legacy. When more often than not, people will remember those moments over anything that he's actually put out. Just throwing it out there.
I'm far above it. I would never, it wouldn't benefit me in the least Some people say we give you exposure. Yeah, toxic exposure to a group of people who are only there to basically make fun and be disgusting. And by the way, even if Rich said something positive about me, in a moment's notice, if it would benefit him, he would flip it and turn it and make it negative again just to shit on me for his own personal benefit. That's the kind of...
And as Burnell has said, they're both equal, and they are. They both have the same type of tendencies. Neither one of them hold no loyalty to anything. It's all about the almighty dollar. What's the difference? What's the difference? Wouldn't you rather associate with people that you already know what they think of you and how they're going to react to you than a group of people that you certainly don't know? Let's rephrase that. Let's rework that. Phil should be more comfortable around lolcows like himself than he should be around the average person. Because the average person is unpredictable. Because he doesn't know them. And he doesn't even want to try to understand them. He doesn't know if they're detractor fan, troll, hater, critic, or a genuine fan. He can't even tell the difference anymore. So his paranoia is already something that already has him gripped. So that's scary to him. And that's something that causes him to be cautious, which is only putting more stress on him. But with someone like Rich, as you said, Phil, Rich is a whore. And Rich does this for profit. He does that for profit. He doesn't give a fuck about nothing. He's just like you. So that's something that you already know, that you're already accustomed to. You should be comfortable with that. If you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, under those pretenses, he should be comfortable with that. He should understand that. And he should be able to move off of it. I don't see what the problem is. I really don't. He's better off with the devil that he knows than the saints that he doesn't. Just my opinion.
Person he is, that's the kind of person he's always been on YouTube. It ain't gonna change. So I'm not that fucking ignorant to think that anything's gonna change just because he decides to want to interview me. So no, I'm not gonna be on his podcast. I'm not gonna talk to the fucking guy. If the guy would leave my name out of his mouth, it would benefit the planet way better. But we all know that ain't gonna happen because all he wants to do is talk about me in a negative way to bring in views for himself.
Because he's a greedy fuck with no talent.
So there you go. No, I'm not gonna be on the podcast. And so people are like, why is Phil so upset? I'm
a greedy fuck with no talent. Yikes.
Actually not. I'm not upset at all. But, people want to talk about stuff like this. Like, oh, you really missed an opportunity. There was no opportunity. These people are parasites. These are people who want to latch on and be toxic because it benefits them. Right? That's the only reason. Oh, I want you to come defend yourself. Defend myself against what? There's literally nothing going on. You are in the midst of a controversial situation you created amongst the whole disgusting, toxic community out there that none of anyone's business, has nothing to do with anything, has nothing to do with my fucking streams, and I don't need to talk about it all.
So fuck off. In fact,
yet again, ladies and gentlemen, the devil you know.
Just fuck off in general.
I thought we weren't angry. Yikes.
Just don't exist. Seriously.
Wow, should Rich go ahead and have a heart attack and die somewhere? Jesus Christ. Wow. I didn't expect that.
Go away and stop making content, and guess what? You'd affect nothing in any negative way whatsoever. The world would still keep fucking turning tomorrow. Alrighty then.
Golden Colt sent me $1. He says, fat ass slob piece of shit. Well, I don't know who you're referencing. Certainly, I didn't say anything like that at all. I would never criticize anyone's physical appearance, ever.
Except for that guy who got you suspended off of Twitch for like 3 days. Well, it was supposed to be an indefinite suspension, and then Phil sucked some dick behind the scenes and got back in 3 days for insulting the dude's hair. I don't know if he actually shitted on the guy for his weight, but I think he went after the guy's like hair or some shit like that.
At least in the modern era, especially with Twitch's terms of service and everything.
Rich is a whore.
So then it's not like you wouldn't insult somebody because of how they physically look, because it's not the right thing to do. You wouldn't do it because Twitch would fucking discipline you for it. Well, that makes you kind of a shit person then, Phil. That's like saying, oh, I'm not racist, right? I'm not racist because I think it's wrong, or it's not something that I agree with, or it's something that I don't need to speak about publicly, right? But then say, oh, well, I'm not going to do that type of stuff, or I'm not going to engage in that type of stuff because Twitch doesn't allow it. There's a difference, Phil. Right? And that's why he has to chew on his pig feet whenever someone of color comes up on the screen. Not in fighting games, interestingly enough, but in everything else, though. Especially, I guess, if they're too dark. Oh, well.
Guy's such a two-faced fat piece of shit. He pisses me off. Like, I seriously hate people like that are so fucking dishonest and two-faced and will do anything to make a fucking nickel.
A whole lot of self-reflection right there, ladies and gentlemen.
He's disgusting.
I have every right to criticize the level of content someone puts out and trying to get me involved in that kind of content, but I would never say anything like that to anyone. So, thank you for the tip, but I don't disagree with that. I don't agree with that sentiment. Excuse me. Crapcock Cheer. And he says, fuck that guy, he's your polar opposite. He spreads negativity while you instill positivity. I do my best, and listen, I fully understand that I'm not a perfect person, and yes, sometimes I spread negativity, even though I don't mean to do it. A lot of the times I get way too worked up about a game I'm playing, or, you know, especially if I'm playing a fighting game and I get angry, or if I'm playing a game that I feel is a ripoff, or, you know, I'll get angry during a gameplay or whatever. Yes, I'm not perfect, I make mistakes. It's, you know, I wholeheartedly 100% admit that, okay?
Wait, I thought you said initially, though, it was people taking what you say out of hand. It's all supposed to be entertainment. It's all part of your gimmick. Now, all of a sudden, you admit to doing all of those things, and you can get a little bit out of hand with stuff? Wow, we've sure walked that narrative back, haven't we?
I've definitely matured a lot when it comes to gaming. I was Mr. Rage, right?
In general, what I try to do every day is do something positive. Put out a stream, like I told you guys. A stream where you guys can escape the stress of your real life, all the annoying shit going on in your real life, and come here to just kind of hang out and have a chill vibe, right?
And hear all about the negative shit that's going on in your life with detractors, with not being able to get toilet paper, which is hilarious. Detractors, not being able to get the stuff that you want, complaining about how you wake up sick in the morning, and then as the day goes on, you feel better, or your nasal drip, or your finances. That's supposed to be escaping reality? So everybody's supposed to turn off their shit so they can come over there and deal with your shit. That's starting to sound like the war dog leader situation all over again. Yikes.
I relax and say, oh, I had a good time today on Phil's stream. Now, I came to Phil's stream and it was full of drama and insults and everyone else's fucking business and making fun of people. That's not what it's about for me. You know, I'm way more mature than that. I'm way past that. I've been creating content on the internet for over 11 years, and I've grown a lot in that time. I don't want to do that kind of toxic shit. I want to do something that's productive, that people feel like they get something positive out of on a daily basis, right? I want to leave a legacy behind of positivity, not a legacy of disgusting toilet juice, like some of these other content creators do. So, you know, that's, for me, that's my focus. And I hope that people get that out of my stuff. I really do. Okay? The Donald tipped me $1. He says, what's the best insult you've ever used?
Jesus Christ, that was, the level of delusion and all that was amazing. He truly is the king of suffering. Absolutely amazing.
Shit. The best insult I've ever used is probably just telling the truth. And that's all it takes sometimes. Because there's so many people on this planet that sugarcoat shit. There's so many people on this planet that refuse to see it like it is and say it like it is and tell the truth. And I've taken a lot of shit in my life for being a truthful person. I've gotten in trouble at work, at jobs I've had. I've gotten in trouble in school. I've gotten in trouble every authority figure ever. Like, oh my God, Phil said that? Yeah, I said what was actually going on because no one else will fucking say it. And someone has to because you're all pussies, you know?
Okay, so I call everything the way it is. I've gotten in a shitload of trouble for it, right? I've been set back because of it and whatnot, but someone had to do it because the rest of you guys are pussies. Yeah, look at where he's at now, ladies and gentlemen. We're the laughingstock of YouTube. He's been kicked off of multiple websites, right? He's been kicked off of one website, realistically. He was kicked off of Blip. He was run off of YouTube, right, because of the whole AdSense thing. So that's not getting kicked off, so there's a difference. So he got ran off of one website. He got kicked off of another. He ran himself off of a third website. He has turned almost everybody who ever liked his content or even thought any type of way highly of himself against him. He's ran off one fiance. He took another man's leftovers because I honestly think Subaru Man was ready to get rid of Catherine anyway. So he took another man's, you know what I'm saying, leftovers and shit and tried to act like that was his own. He has failed. He got kicked off of two 2 MCNs. He got kicked off of 2 MCNs. Got honey dicked into a third. Right? Got honey dicked into a third. Has been taken advantage of by at least, well, by a couple of content creators, to be honest, but at least one with Jeremy, but nothing came out of that, so would you really consider that taking advantage of? He had 2 others who were looking to do something with him, and he completely shitted on them, and theoretically you could say he won, but whatever, make of that what you will. He has an army of people who know more about his wife now than he does. His life is pretty much an open book to us. And this idiot even put his cousin's name out there, either because he didn't give a shit or because he wanted to throw the wolves off of his scent for a little while. He shitted on family members, alive and dead, right? He's insulted everybody that he could have ever done business with, collaborated with, or people who ever trusted him or believed in him. He has nothing. And he thinks and like I said, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, it's not a matter of you lying to someone when you say something. It's all about how you say it. And Phil never learned that. He wants to be a blunt instrument. He wants to be a blunt tool, and he treated himself as such and then gets mad when other people treat him as such. If you're going to act like a blunt individual, then people more often than not are going to treat you as such. People treat you how you carry yourself. And he never understood that. Maybe because dad didn't have enough time to teach him that, because he was off cheating on his wife with someone else, or maybe his mother didn't have a chance to do that because she was opening herself up for somebody else. Whatever. And that's something that he admitted to. No one dug that up. He admitted that his parents cheated on each other. Why the fuck would you do that? The reason why Phil Burnell is where he is because he's exposed himself to everybody. For profit. For ad revenue, basically. And then gets mad that shit gets thrown up into his face later. The reason why Phil is where he is right now is because he set himself back. As he admitted, with other jobs and school and everything else, he set himself back. There was, ladies and gentlemen, no detractor. There was no hater. There was no critic. There wasn't the system against him. He has admitted, whether he realizes it or not, that he put himself where he's at. Every shortcoming that he's had in his life was his fault. Because he wants to, it's not even a code, but whatever, we'll go with that for now. Because he wants to stick to some code or for some philosophy, sorry about that. That if you see something that's messed up, then you need to call it out. If that's the case, then what the fuck's he doing being mad at people like Tevin, people like Theo, people like Argent, people like Agent Proper, James the Lesser, Base Oslo? Why is he mad at those people? Snort Burnell, Mr. Huffstuff, David Davison. Why is he mad at people like that? Mighty D. Why would he be mad at people like that, right? If all they're doing is pointing out bullshit or pointing out something that needs to be pointed out. Why would he be upset at that when that's what he does? Oh, because there's no drawback to it? Because people actually respect those individuals and what they say, and whenever he says something, it's immediately scrutinized? No one even takes it at face value except for the idiots over there who choose to take it at face value. But for everybody else, the wider audience, which is who he's trying to appeal to, who he's trying to bring in, they immediately scrutinize that shit until they can go ahead and determine whether it's truthful or not. That's an amazing revelation right there. He doesn't see the value in it because he's kind of just blurting it out to blur it out. But there was value in that. He may not see it, and just because he don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. DSP News.
Someone has to do it. If you're going to take the brunt or whatever for doing it, I'll do it. You know, I firmly believe the reason why I had some issues with jobs in the past, like for example, one time I worked at Best Buy, and they wanted us to have a business team where we were going to sell servers and networking and all this stuff to small business owners. They didn't give us any resources to do so. They didn't allow us to attend business mixers. They wouldn't even make us business cards so we could hand them out to customers. All they had us do was stand inside the store and sell computer shit like a normal associate who worked at Best Buy. But then, listen to this, they were expecting us to qualify and study and get high-end networking training. They were actually having us take online courses to learn how to do like networking, to build an office of networked computers. And I'm like, why are we doing this? We're never going to sell this shit because, number one, we don't carry any of it in store. Number two, because you won't let us network. You won't let us go out there and tell the people that we even exist. So you're having me study off of the time of the clock, by the way. Not when I was clocked in working. Having me study and do online courses and shit for networking, something I will never do in this job because the management of the company is asinine, doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just basically throwing money at a wall, not knowing what the fuck they're doing, and they expect that this business team is just going to sell, you know, $10,000, $20,000 transactions overnight when we don't have the product in the store and no one knows that there's a business team at Best Buy. Yeah, it's really stupid.
Okay, I'm confused by that for a couple of different reasons. One, as it pertains to the online courses that they're not making him pay for, by the way. So essentially, they're giving it to him for free. But you know, Phil. Yet, as I've said before, Phil's time is so goddamn Phil's time is so goddamn valuable that he needs to be paid for every little thing he does. And you guys see that on stream, so it is what it is. That whole vest and cowboy hat the other night was kind of proof positive on that nonsense. All right, the networking, the online courses for the networking or whatever, that could be used later on down the line outside of Best Buy. Yet again, just because he didn't see the value doesn't mean it's not there. Two, they wanted you guys to open up a business and networking center for small businesses, but they didn't have any place to advertise it, or they didn't set up a booth or set up a part of their store for that. If that's true, then he's right. That's pretty ignorant. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty ignorant. That you would want to go ahead and push that narrative, but yet you don't have a section of the store set up for it, or it's not in weekly. I mean, back in his day, I think there was weekly advertisements. Any of that stuff. That doesn't sound right. Now, I could counter that by saying, well, when people come in to your computer center or so on and so forth for your computer section, right? Because back in his day, there used to be fucking 100 people on a Best Buy floor at any given time. Same thing with what's that other place? Red had like the red logo. Circuit City. Same thing with Circuit City at that time too. They had a bunch of people on the floor. God damn, they had a bunch of people on the floor. Now that I think about it. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, quick story. So, yeah, they had a bunch of people. Because I remember going in with my older brothers into the Best Buy, right? And we would initially go there for like new games, right? Like games that literally just came out. Like if we didn't feel like going to Best Buy, or not Best Buy, didn't feel like going to GameStop or whatever. But when we went by Circuit City, we used to go ahead and pick up games that were like already out, that were slightly older, you know, been out for a couple months or even a year. Like PS2 games and so on and so forth, stuff like that, PS3 games, because they used to have the best deals. Because like you could get like 4 PS4 games for like $35, like brand spanking new and everything in the package or whatnot. Like they used to have like wild sales, like on stuff. Like you could get like Nintendo 64 games, you could get like 4 of them for like $25. Yeah, Circus just had ridiculous sales. Now that I think about it. But I mean, granted, they were just trying to get everything off the shelf, so I can understand that too. Now that I think about it, I think our Circuit City had like a business center, which leads into my next. Sorry about that sidetrack, but that leads into my next point. Now that I think about it, since you guys are already on the floor selling computers and software, hardware, and everything like that, I would assume that they would want you to actually promote that. That hey, is this all for personal use or is this for business? Oh, well, I'm thinking about starting with my own business. Okay, well, we're actually getting ready to branch out into a business networking type scenario. Would you like me to just go ahead and run by some of this to you? You know what I mean? Just like some of the stuff that we're offering or we will be offering in the future. I'm assuming that's how Best Buy was thinking about going about it. And if enough interest was drawn up, then maybe they would just put a section out there for it. I'm assuming with this, though, by the way. But it doesn't matter, because if you have a couple of cucks like Phil who immediately want to shut that shit down before even actually listening to the idea in full or being completely drawn out, then why would you even feel the need to waste your time? Or you would just bring other people in to do it for you. And I'm of the firm belief that Phil has probably been fired from the majority of the jobs that he's ever worked at. He seems like that type of individual. I have to give that a little bit more consideration.
And I was very vocal about this. And ever since I started speaking up about it, they tried to get rid of me, and eventually they did. They kind of framed.
Well, proof is in the pudding. Well done, Phil. Well done. Your failure never disappoints. Ever. Ever. I want you to know that. Your failure never disappoints.
To me, claiming that I violated the store's store discount policy to get me out of there because they didn't like someone speaking up and exposing them for their ineptitude.
Wait, now, funny enough, that was one of the things that ran his ass out of the FTC. If you guys remember, he said that when he used to go to West Coast tournaments and when he went to a few Evos, that he felt like the brackets were being tampered with, and that's why he was forced to play people from either his state, usually from his state, because if you're playing dudes from your coast, it's whatever. But that Phil would be forced to play against people that either they knew clearly he couldn't beat, which that's not up for them to come up with the matchups. It's just you set the bracket up and so on and so forth. As long as you're not playing against dudes from your state. Phil said that he actually had played people from his state, sometimes from his city. Whatever. He said that the brackets were usually rigged against him, and that's why he didn't do well. Just throwing that out there. But they were going to try to get Phil out of there because he was violating their discount program. Now, I want you to think about this a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Does Phil look like the type of person who would try to scam a system? To try to scam their discount program? Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, they have some games on discount, kind of like Circuit City, right? And let's say it's 30% off, let's say. And then Phil goes up to the register and asks if he can go ahead and get another discount put on that. Like his employee discount or whatever. And let's say that normally they would automatically get 30% off or maybe even 40% off. That might be actually a bit high, but just go with it. They might get 30 or 40% off any particular item, right? But because this right here has already been discounted already, oh, well, you would only get like an additional like 10 or 15%. And Phil's like, oh, well, just go ahead and manually punch it in. Just manually go ahead and punch in my discount, punch in the actual extra 30% for me. Come on, man, just do me that solid. And the guy's probably like, oh, well, all right, whatever, Phil, you're all right. Well, or just get you out of my face because I'm tired of the smell of spam. Sure, no problem. And they give it to him and they get it out of there. Eventually, shit like that's going to accumulate. Especially if Phil, being a creature of habit, goes to the same person over and over and over again and doesn't actually, like, switch up. Because people have been accused of that at Best Buy before. We used to have friends that used to work over there. And they used to get caught up in, well, not them particularly, but they were part of it and they didn't really know it. But they used to get caught up in silly shit like that too, kind of. Anyway, just to throw it out there as an example. So, to kind of reframe my point though, does Phil seem like the type of individual that would take advantage of a discount program for his own advantage or for his own benefits, even if it's a deficit or is breaking the rules of the company? Company policy is what I meant to say. Does Phil come across as such a despicable individual to do that? If one would consider people despicable by doing that. I'll leave that up to you.
Okay. And by the way, what did they do? They got rid of the whole business team. They just got rid of about 2 years of launching it. They completely just got rid of it. And anyone who stayed with the company just went back to being like a line level associate selling computers. Everyone else, either got laid off, or fired or whatever. So that's what I mean. But I do this all the time. That's the kind of person I am. And it gets me in trouble. It does.
But that's the best insult you can use.
So you running your mouth like a goddamn idiot has basically put you at a deficit pretty much your whole life, and you never thought about, either A, reword what I'm saying, B, keep my mouth shut, or C, be prepared for the consequences that's going to come at me. And this way you can't play victim, because in this whole scenario of telling the truth, right, he can't blame anybody else. He really can't. That's all on him. It's all on him. He can't. There was nobody plotting against him. You were a disruption. And like any disruption, you need to usually get up. I mean, if you're not going to conform, then you're going to get the fuck up and out of there. And that's exactly what happened to him. I don't understand how that's hard to figure out.
Tell someone to their face the truth, and they just weren't ready for it because they've been so lied to, or they've been so had their ass kissed. You know what I mean? That finally they get the truth and they're like, oh my God. You don't have to go out of your way to insult someone. You don't have to fucking, pull all the stops or nothing. Just tell them something that they don't want to face the reality of, and that will hurt them. Well, not hurt them, but that will make them be shocked more than anything else.
Okay, continuing on. Snow Carl took the dollars. Have you heard of the term Freudian slip? Yes, that was the time when Sigmund Freud slipped on a banana peel. He flew across his psychologist's office, hilariously, and they got it on film, and that was the birth of slapstick comedy. That's correct. Thank you, Goat Snow Carl, for the dollar tip. I actually have no idea what you're referencing. Probably something I said earlier, and I said it wrong, and then tried to correct myself. But I have no idea what that's referencing.
I need more money. I need more money. Yo, I do need more. Slip of the tongue, Freudian slip. I do need more money, but I need more information on that game if you want me to play. Freudian slip.
Cousin Sven cheered. He says, no harm intended. You claim to have thick skin. Others say you have the thinnest skin on YouTube and Twitch. How on earth do you think I could have the thinnest skin if I'm here after 11 years with all the shit that people have said and done to me? You know what I mean?
Because you have no choice. To be honest. Because you have no choice. And how you lash out at it is a good example of that too. But in actuality, you have no choice. You have no options. A lot like Wings, sadly. Well, Wings has more options than he's willing to admit. It's just, one, it's the money, no matter how much it's declining. And two, it's what he knows. It's what he knows, and he's too scared to go off and try something else. Which is eventually what's going to end up burying Wings. Sadly. But that's the reality, though. That's the truth. But for Phil, he really has no choice. He has no choice. He knows what's going to happen when, like this, with this bankruptcy thing, right? He gets hit with Chapter 7. He's a wage slave for the rest of his life. And that's just the reality he's going to have to live. And he can hate it all he wants. He can say he got railroaded. He can say he got cheated. He can say whatever comes up in that rather unusually shaped head to his. Either which way, he's stuck. And he's been stuck. And then he always looked at what he was doing as the easy way out. And look at where it got him. You know what I'm saying? At the time, if I had said this to you guys, if I was around 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, you guys probably would have laughed at that shit and kept it moving. I don't blame you. I still would have said it, though. But I don't blame you. But now, 5, 6, 7 years later, now look at him. The thing is about being right is not the matter of being right then and there. History will always prove it. It just takes time. Like anything else. Nothing is built in a day. You know what I mean? Phil snorting wasn't something that he developed yesterday. It's like anything else. And his failure is something that the detractors told you guys about for years. For years. They said that eventually he's going to crash, and when he crashes, he's going to burn, and when he burns, he's going to burn hard. And that's exactly what happened. So whose fault is it, ladies and gentlemen? The people who said it, or the individual who could have avoided all this and chose not to because he thought he was doing the right thing? Even though he saw the decline, he saw the changing of the guard, meaning how the gaming community was changing on YouTube. He saw how people were turning against them or just outright leaving him, and he didn't want to do anything about it. He didn't want to change unless he really had to. And by then it was already too late. Whose fault was it then, ladies and gentlemen? Dspnews.
All the things people have made up. How could you say I have the thinnest skin? That's insanity. Who would say that? Who would say I have the thinnest skin? That doesn't even make any sense at all. I don't know. Anyway, Aguilar Artorias cheered and said, how does it offer to have Gordon Ramsay comment on the detractors? What? I'm not sure what you mean, Aguilar Artorias. Thank you for the cheer, but that went right over my head. Lebensraum? How the fuck do you say that? Lebensraum. What does that mean? Maybe I should look that up before I put that on the leaderboard. The territory that a state or nation believes is needed for its natural development, especially associated with Nazi Germany. What was the concept of Lebensraum? Living space. A principle of Nazi foreign policy. Alrighty then. See? That's why I looked this stuff up. I'm not stupid.
Well, yeah, you are. But The acquirement of space. The acquirement of space. Which almost every great nation has done at one time or another. Oh well.
All right, well, I would like to say thank you for the $21 tip, because that is a very generous tip. It is the biggest tip of the day. But you used a Nazi term in your name. Therefore, I will not put you on the leaderboard. Instead, I will give you the proper terminology, a nice big L. There you go. There's your nice big L. But thank you for the $21 tip regardless. What did they actually have to say? They said, yeah, you should take this money peasant. See, it's an insult too. They call me a peasant. Wow. Well, I don't know who the real loser is here. But I just received $21 and you got exposed. So thanks for the 21 bucks. Next time, try a little harder. Someone tipped me $1 trying to give an example of how I have thin skin. Alright, I'm not going to address it specifically. Alright, but basically here's what they're saying. Oh, whenever someone brings up something, alright, on your stream, you ban them. No, that's not true.
Fuck you. You're a liar.
Here's the truth of the matter, alright? When people come on my stream and they reference things specifically that detractors are talking about that I'm not talking about on my stream because it's none of anyone's business, and personally I have nothing to say about it, and then they come in here and they directly reference it over and over, they will get moderated and banned. It's that simple, okay? You're in my personal shit. It's none of your fucking business. The reason you talk about it is because it's dramatic, it's controversial, it's drama, it's toxic crap. You're like the TMZ of the fucking internet, you're an immature little shit, and you want to talk about people's dirty laundry, right? So...
I mean, maybe if you cleaned your laundry, there'd be nothing to talk about. Or maybe if you just kept that shit in your closet and didn't speak of it, there'd be nothing to talk about. Just saying.
On my stream, and you derail it with that shit, it's directly against the rules. Derailing the stream is against the rules. You'll be banned. If you talk about things detractors are talking about, you'll be banned. It's in the rules. This is not having thin skin. This is maintaining positivity and control of a stream so that people will enjoy the stream and we don't talk about stupid, controversial, toxic shit all day. You wouldn't understand that because you have the brain of a fucking pea and that's all you do is you talk about toxic shit all day because you're a moron. So thank you for the $1 tip, moron.
And as if we couldn't have said all those things without throwing the insult in. Don't get me wrong, he was flawed in his logic anyway, because the only thing that was honest about that whole statement was maintaining control. He doesn't give a fuck about having a positive stream or a fun stream or none of that shit. At the end of the day, this is all about control. But then you had to tack in all these insults at the end, which automatically diminished anything and everything that you said prior to that. And he's never figured that out. And like I said, maybe mommy and daddy were all about going ahead and throwing insults at him, and that's how he picked it up, and that's what he moved with. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But maybe that's how he thought he gets his point across. Maybe that's how he thinks you should treat people that are younger than you. I don't know. But either which way, he went ahead and nullified his own point. So at the end of the day, what was the point?
Incredibly thick skin.
Golden Nobles did a 510-bit cheers if you listen to Lil Uzi's new album. Dude, I have been rocking that shit nonstop. That thing is on constant loop. Whenever I'm not streaming, Lil Uzi is blasting up in my pad. Are you kidding me? That is my shit. I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? No, I haven't listened to that. Alright, Frog, seriously, isn't it ironic Project 7 was actually an accurate description of being a YouTuber, locked in isolation but being forced to play games? I mean, yeah! In reality, sometimes you kind of have to maybe think a little bit about it. I think maybe if that was my subconscious kind of coming out a little bit and saying that's kind of how I felt a lot of the time.
Phil stole fan donations that went towards a Project 7 reboot. Now what I did, we just pocket that. Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone.
Yikes. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into the second and last video that will make up our broadcast, because, you know, that's a thing. There will be a commercial or a tasty segment in between this, and I'll see you guys in a few. Amazing.
It's gone like that. In an instant. Fucking gone. I just care about money. I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you.
is how I play the game! Oh my god! What the fuck?
Holy shit! That is an epic fucking intro, dude. And I have to warn everyone, warning, what you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Alright, that's... sounds good to me.
I want to say...
One can only hope. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the second and last video that will make up our broadcast, brought to us by Burnell, DSP. New mods are needed. DMCA takedown against DSPArchives. This is from March 9th of 2020, our current year of gout. Let's get it.
Thank you to that Anonymous for the last, 2 years or so, where he has been a moderator for the streams. He has helped out significantly. I'm sure many of you who are stream regulars and regular viewers and attendees know who that Anonymous is. Officially, he will be, as of, the end of today, stepping down as a full-time moderator to move on to other endeavors. Now, he will still be here from time to time to moderate when he feels like doing it, but he is not going to commit to being here full-time consistently, and that is perfectly fine. I just want to say thank you to him for all the help that he has lent on the streams. He's been a positive influence. He has helped out. He is well-liked as a moderator, and he will be missed, not being around all the time. So that being said, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking, hopefully, for some people who maybe want to step up and help out moderating. Now, I'm not expecting anyone to step up and jump in as a full-time moderator at all. What I'd like, ideal situation here would be maybe we could find, 2 people who want to do, part-time moderating and can help out. So,
it's kind of funny, too, right? Because if you think 2017, 2018, people were chomping at the bit to become mods. And over the last year or two, people aren't very enthusiastic about doing that now. There used to be a whole slew of candidates that could, be set up for mods, and now people don't seem interested in doing that. Now, that Anonymous, I don't even know why he won out, because he had been there for so long, and he, I think one of the biggest situations with Anonymous that kind of sticks out to me was when the whole situation around Bad Bunny and whatnot, when he led the charge against her and all that nonsense. So I'm kind of surprised he's willing to dip out now, but it is what it is. And a lot of the original mods, which would be into 2017 leading into the 2018 year, a lot of them, one of them went to the military, another one went back to school, the other ones that got girlfriends and whatnot, or boyfriends, whatever the case may be, and went off and actually did shit with their lives. A lot of them kind of just came to age, if you will. So that's an interesting way of working it all out. I guess now it's just a matter of who's willing to buy in. You know what I mean? So I would assume those who are the top tippers or contributors are going to be the ones who are going to be candidates to be mods. So I guess we'll watch and see how that plays.
Before we get into the schedule and everything, I just want to say thanks, guys. Your support last few days have been great. As you guys can see, if you look at the top of the screen, a lot of subs came in, man. This is great. A lot of subs have come in. We are getting very close to hitting the subscriber goal. In fact, last night we were very close. We were only 5 subs away last night, but then overnight we dipped some. So we're only 12 subscriptions away from hitting our monthly subscriber goal. If we hit 675 concurrent subs, we're going to be doing a viewer's choice event. All right? Later tonight, we're going to be doing more Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, but don't worry, because some people have been a little bit peeved because it took 3 major streams to beat the RPG mode of the game, which is the major story mode of the game. It was necessary for me to do that because in order to unlock one of the characters that are playable in the game, you actually have to beat the RPG mode. So I had to get through that regardless, even if you didn't want to see it. And, I want Phil to play the game's other modes and maybe do competitive play. Well, guess what? I needed to play through RPG mode to unlock a character anyway. It was kind of required, okay? So, yes. The truth of the matter is, yes, I understand it was 3 major streams and people are a little bit bored, but it's over now, okay?
See how passionate he is about games? Now, another thing I want to point out is this right here is assumed to be the position that Phil was in back at the condo in Connecticut when, when he wasn't on, when his face wasn't on screen. and he would do playthroughs. He'd be laying on his couch, drunk, you know, and be just playing games like that. And when you listen to some of the how his speech was slurred back in those days, it kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? And also, if you listen to how his voice sounded when he was playing by himself some of the times, and then how he played with, like, when John or Howard were there, you can kind of tell, okay, maybe Phil was laying down or lounging at during this recording session, whereas over here you can tell he's sitting up or whatever the case may be. So just something to think about.
It's going to be a late stream moving forward. Okay, guys? I kind of feel like the Morrowinds are like baby steps. Alright, what I mean by that is, I don't really understand the systems of the game at all. I'm really just a noob when it comes to this game. I don't care what the Mages Guild, I have very little magic ability, so I have no idea what to do. I'm just gonna wait. So what you guys who played this game before, do you have any recommendations of what exactly I should do? Let's see. Weedham says, before joining either Thieves or Fighters Guild, realize that they have a quest that intersects and that the Fighters Guild has a good and bad ending. Gotcha.
Oh, another thing about Grand Blue I wanted to point out is that it's because I guess he's chasing after that character or whatnot, but more importantly, he's trying to draw out the playthrough. He's actually killing it. He's actually killing the playthrough off. And then, more importantly, you would think he would have learned something through those first 3 streams that would help him in competitive, and from at least from what I've seen, it hasn't. It hasn't at all. It's completely... It's almost as if he just... Every time he turns on the console, or he turns on the game, I should say, his mind goes completely blank. So, all that sandbagging that he does, or all this drawing out the early stages of these games and so on and so forth, he's only killing himself. And he's only killing the playthrough. And he's doing it under the pretense that this is what interactive streaming is, and this is what it requires. But it doesn't. There's a lot of streamers who, if they have like a create your player mode or something like that, either A, it's done super fast, or B, it's done off stream. You know what I mean? So then when they get there, we can go straight into the game, we can make it happen. It varies from streamer to streamer. But Phil doesn't see that, or he doesn't want to see it. And like I said, the more and more he draws these games out, the more he's killing it. Which means he's killing any momentum. So all of those day one views, they mean nothing. They're not translating to hundreds of dollars on stream for the first or the second stream, and it's not translating into tens of thousands of views on YouTube. So what's wrong with this situation? It's him. And it's his approach to it. Oh well. DSP News.
The trigger is a jump, that's weird. PW Dubs to me $1.30 says, do you think Twitch should have a retirement plan or pension? No. No, those things are left up to the person who's self-employed. I'm self-employed, and therefore, you know, having those things is up to that person to save or do stuff with. It's only if you have an actual employer who do stuff, who might do that stuff for you. But I'm not employed. I'm self-employed.
And he made all that money for all those years, and he has nothing in savings. I want you to think about this for a minute. For someone who made around $1.7 million over the span of his years on YouTube, doing it for money, I should say, which is pretty much his whole time on YouTube. You would think, looking at everything that he has, right, that he would have at least $200,000 or $300,000 either in a hedge fund, or in a hedge fund, in a high yield savings account, and in a savings account, or in a nest egg somewhere, or in a self IRA or Roth. He would have money somewhere. You would think. When you look at all these other YouTubers who came after him, and all of them got money in the bank, and they're all doing their thing, even though some of them are screwing over their own fan bases. Korean Savage is a good example with what he pulled. But that's neither here nor there. We talk about that another time. But just as an example, those guys have money put away. Those guys have investments. Those guys have safety blankets, because it's just not going to last forever. It wasn't going to last forever back in Phil's day. And people saw that. He didn't, because he's an unrealistic motherfucker, but other people saw it. They saw what the writing on the wall was. If you can do this for as long as you can, great. No one was trying to drag this out and make a full-fledged living off of it. Phil did. You know what I mean? Like, Phil came into this with the aspect that, oh, I can do this for a job. And I can do this for a career, and I'm always going to do this. Whereas other people were like, hey, I'm going to jump into this, and whatever happens, happens. And they saw far more money quicker and more consistently than Phil did. Phil, at his height, was pulling in between 13 and 15 million views a month. There are people who shatter that. There are people who put out a video a day and get about 1 million, 1.5 million to 2 million views a day. Easy. That beats anything that Phil ever did in his heyday. And because Phil wasn't willing to adapt and change to the situation, he left all kinds of potential money on the table. He was too busy with his hooves, with his little T-Rex piggy arms, trying to grab onto these coins, right? Literally trying to grab onto these coins when all the big money was downrange. And he couldn't see it because he was too damn greedy and too damn stupid. There's no reason why, if you look at Phil's lifetime earnings online, that he shouldn't be at 3 or 4 million. Even, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, he would have squandered all of that either which way, but there's no reason why he shouldn't have done that. When you look at Phil's playthroughs now, the ones that, you gotta think, the ones that are at 1 million views, if he's even there, it's after like 8 or 9 years. You gotta think about that. I don't know. That's something I wanted to point out. DSP News.
Crazy and Boney resub for 15 months and said, you bungus. Time to rock with Bigfoot in the dirty teapot. Hulk Hogan for life. What the fuck did that mean? I have no idea what the hell that meant, but thank you for the sub. Wow. And you guys are doing your best to help me to try to understand what I'm doing, but it's tough. Let's put it that way. It's daunting, it's challenging, because the game is nothing like the modernized Elder Scrolls games. It's very complicated. It doesn't hold your hand whatsoever. Okay.
Does Phil even play any of the modern Elder Scroll games? Or he hasn't played it in a while? And yet again, this is Mr. King of Retro. Whatever.
Okay. So I feel like every time I play this game, I'm learning just a tiny bit more. Last night I completed a few
quests. Well, yeah, that's what the game is supposed to do. You're supposed to learn the mechanics as you play through it. No one picks up a game and innately knows what they're doing. That makes no sense. If that's the case, what's the point of playing it? And if so, why aren't you speedrunning it? This way you get some notoriety off it.
Really was wandering around, lost, not knowing what the hell to do. For an extended period of time, even the people helping me in the stream, I was still confused, okay? But, I definitely, made some progress. I'm looking forward to more this Wednesday night, okay? So, starting this Friday, Neo 2, the best way to contribute is by tipping me. When you tip me, I get those funds immediately. That means I can put them towards the cost of a game coming up. I can put them towards a bill behind the scenes. I can put them towards paying taxes. I can put it towards a grocery shopping list this week when I go out on Tuesday. It goes towards things that are necessities that I need to spend money on right now, okay? Luke's Boner Films 2 tipped me $1. Thank you very much, Luke's Boner Films 2. I appreciate that $1 tip. I don't know what the hell a Luke's Boner Film is. And you know what? Quite frankly, I don't think I want to know. I just say thank you for your support. Cold087 to subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much, Cold Zero, for the sub. I appreciate that. Then he cheered 101 bits to become the top cheerer of the day. So I'll update the leaderboard here, but he says, can you please turn on the camera when doing pre-stream? It gets boring watching the pictures the whole time. Thanks, friendo. My response to that is very simple. No!
I mean, all you're doing is hearing him, well, all you would see, I should say, is him rocking back and forth anyway. So what's the point in that?
Why not? A couple reasons. First reason, because I like to have this pre-stream stuff running. It's a way to advertise. That's one of the major points of pre-stream is advertisement. And for someone who is maybe coming by and is a first-time viewer or whatever, this, you know, maybe they're only going to watch the stream for a few minutes because they're coming by to see what it's all about and they see a few slides that explain stuff. That's the point, okay? So that's number one. I understand many of you are regulars and you don't need to see these slides every day, but that's not who they're really for, okay? That's number one, okay?
So if that's the case, then why should they even come by the pre-stream then? Like you said, if they are regulars who come by every day, then maybe they should just skip the pre-streams and just show up for the actual gameplay. I'm just throwing it out there. It's just an idea.
Number two, what you may not realize is that I do the pre-streams completely in the nude.
That is absolutely disgusting.
I'm always completely naked here on the stream while I do pre-streams. Then when I turn the camera on, I whip out some clothes here, very quickly, so that I don't get, kicked off of Twitch. But, doing pre-streams in the nude, I can't stream now. You get into a lot of trouble. Okay, guys? Truth of the matter is, you guys see me on stream all day anyway. Why do you need to see me even longer? I don't understand that. Like, why do you need to see me even longer? Why do you even want to see me at all?
So then what's the point of the face cam then? Why don't we just go ahead and get rid of that like people have been saying, and you just play the video game as such? Matter of fact, why don't you just go ahead and do your pre-stream with the face cam, and then when we get into the actual gameplay, go ahead and just cut it off? Why not do that? I guess because people like seeing this ugly mug right here, so I guess that's the thing. Everybody has their fetishes, I suppose. Yeah, a face only a mother can love, right? Right? Wrong. Wrong.
For my choice, I'd be streaming with a bag over my head. No one wants to see that shit. So I don't even understand why you guys want to see me more. I say the lesser the better. Remember, I used to not have a camera on at all. And then people started requesting, well, when you do Survivor horror games, we want to have a camera to see your reactions. And then it was, oh, when you play
But I thought you used to shit on people who did fake reactions like that for horror games, like PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, as well as others. But yet you decided to take those recommendations anyway because of King of Hypocrisy.
Software games, we want the camera on to see the reactions. And it was, oh, not any tough game we want to see reactions. Then it became, we just want to see reactions to everything. Alright? So, no, I'm not turning a webcam on pre-stream. I appreciate the contributions, but you see enough of my ugly mug. You don't need to see more. Okay? Fair enough? Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, an unprecedented move. Luke's Boner Films, too, has tipped me another $1. Thank you very much, Luke's Boner Films. Again, I don't know what that means, but thank you for the $1 tip. I don't want to know what it means. Okay. Now, one other thing, guys. I don't know what's going on the internet today, but I got a few messages during my break here, near the tail end of the break. I was actually coming into the office to set up the stream, and a few people were tweeting me about they were getting DMCA takedown notices. Now, I'm not even clear where these notices were. I guess someone said it was a Twitter account or something, but they're saying, oh, people are issuing DMCA takedown notices in your name and this and that. I'm just going to say this up front. I said it on Twitter. I'll say it again here on stream. I have nothing to do with it. I haven't contracted anyone to do with it. It's nothing to do with me whatsoever. It sounds like someone is doing something, whether they're impersonating me or they're just simply listing data and saying, oh, this is a video of Phil's and someone is using it illegally or something. I have no idea, but I have nothing to do with it.
Obviously.
At all. Zero. I don't know anything about it. I have, I don't control it. Since I didn't do anything with it, obviously I have no way to stop it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's happening.
Now, yeah, Burnell's right. It wasn't me, but I ordered it. But I gave the order. Whether Phil told someone to do it or didn't do it, or he knows what's going on and he doesn't know what's going on, that's up to debate. To be honest with you, my thing is why wait till now to do it? Like, oh, speaking of which, DSPArchives is now DSPArchives Lives. I think is what the new handle is now. So you can find him there. And like I said, he wasn't the only one to be taken down. I think there was one other or two other detractors that got taken down too, which is bullshit, by the way. But why go after them now? You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, DSP fanboys have screwed with DSPArchives over the years. So this isn't kind of like the first rodeo with, him either having to take his own Twitch account down temporarily or someone else doing it. So this ain't the first rodeo for archives. But what's the point of doing it now? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are the real benefits of having that happen? You know what I mean? A quick Google search will go ahead and pull up a lot of that. And a lot of DSPArchives tweets are archived. Hence the name. You know what I mean? So that's no different either. It's very, very weird. Very, very strange that someone would feel the need to do that now, whether it was on his behalf or it wasn't. But yet again, this could be all just some, piggy gay ops and whatnot to kind of keep the excitement going on around Phil, to keep shit entertained. Maybe. I don't know.
I am not involved in it. I've told you guys many times over the years, I'm not involved with takedown notices. I know how they work, and I know they're completely ineffective.
But that doesn't stop him from trying. 2017, or End of 2017 into 2018 is a good example. Another example was talking to Snort Burnell, because in 2000, it must have been like 2017. There was like 5 videos that I wanted to go over, and I couldn't because they were flagged down. So trust me, that, and who knows how many videos have been flagged since then. They just didn't go down this time. But who could say? You know what I'm saying? So trust me, that doesn't mean Phil won't try or his minions won't try. You know what I mean? You got to understand that even a lot of this shit is done in Phil's name, and Phil may, truth be told, may actually not have known about it. You know what I mean? And I know, yet again, this is me giving Phil a little too much credit, but let's go ahead and just lay all the pieces on the table before we start setting the game up.
When you issue a takedown notice for a video, YouTube will usually review the case, and as long as they say, okay, yes, that looks like the content matches, they'll take down a video temporarily. They'll issue the YouTuber that's in violation, supposedly. That YouTuber will then have a chance to respond and issue what's called a counterclaim. All they have to do is issue the counterclaim, and immediately that pushes back to the person who filed the takedown notice and says, okay, well, if you're going to file a lawsuit, go ahead. If not, well, oh well, everything's undone. So on YouTube, there's literally zero reason to ever issue a takedown notice unless you're going to sue the person. Okay?
That's not true. People like Chantel and Amber Lynn, I'll use those two for example. They used to do stuff like that so they could get people's information. Zachary Michael is a great example of this, where I can't remember if it was Chantel or if it was Amber, but one of them had hit him with a copyright strike or whatever, and he said, and he, when he put the claim in, he put in his real information and everything. He didn't care. He was just like, whatever, I'm gonna put my real information in. And the moment they saw it, they were like, fuck. And they just went ahead and dropped it. They let it go. I can't remember if that was Chantel or Amber, but one of the two did it. So a lot of people were using that tactic to weaponize and try to get people's information so they could dox them at a later time and date, or use that threat of doxing them. Because when you send that information over, they get all that. Let me give you another example. When Panda Lee was still around, right? She had did a copyright takedown on one of Tevin's videos where he went over her vlogs, and he had to put in a counterclaim, and he sent all of his information and whatnot, and she has all that, and she eventually ended up releasing the claim too, because what was she gonna do about it? And like I said, when he put his information out there, I mean, she wasn't probably using that as a weapon. She probably thought he would never actually, appeal the case, and he did. So that kind of killed any momentum she had, and then the video went back up. So stuff like that.
I have no idea about how to even do it on anywhere else, or why would I even bother? Like, I guess if this is Twitter, why the hell would I try to take down a Twitter account with a copyright claim? What's the point? As I've told you guys, years and years ago, when This Is How You Don't Play first started coming out, I would react very negatively to it. At this point, so many people say negative shit about me on a daily basis just to make shit up. I just don't care anymore. I can't control it all, nor can I refute it all or stop it all. So there's no reason for me to even bother dealing with any of it. I just ignore it.
Yet we have 7-year debunk streams, and we went on the quartering stream to try to clear the air. Sure. Okay.
And I do my own positive content on a daily basis. I'm not involved in any kind of takedown efforts or anything like that. I have no desire to do so. I'd like to be here in a positive stream for you guys. I don't want to be involved with the stupid drama. So I'm not involved with the stupid drama, and that's where I'm leaving it. It ain't me. I don't know who's doing it. I'm not involved, so just leave me out of it. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I have nothing to do with it. Leave me out of it, okay? There you go.
That was me trying to find a way to keep the interest of an audience that I knew was very fickle. These immature teenagers ate that shit up like spaghetti. They slurped it up. They loved it. Undoubtedly, there will be people who will be saying, "Oh, it feels a liar," or whatever. Whatever. It doesn't matter. You're going to call me a liar or whatever. I can't disprove something when I have no. How could I have evidence that I
did? Yeah, all this stumbling and shit. That's not helping. That's not helping.
Didn't do it when I didn't do it. You see what I'm saying? That's why in the United States it's innocent until proven guilty. It's not, oh, you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent. There's no way I can prove myself innocent because I didn't do anything.
But in the case of public court, though, you're almost always guilty. Look at, well, there's plenty of cases you can bring up. Vic Mignon is probably a good example, and so on and so forth. But yeah, Phil has a track record of doing this, and whoever it is that's doing this on his behalf has to know that, whether they're a fan or they're someone doing piggy gay ops. So at the end of the day, like Monday Matt, like Rich, when they flag shit down or they took shit down or whatever, they're always going to be the prime suspects. They just kind of have to live with it. There's no getting around it. There's no changing it. So it is what it is.
I didn't even know about it until people started tweeting me about it. I was like, I don't know what the hell that is.
But see, that's a bit of a contradiction, sorry. Because didn't Phil tell us not long ago that he keeps up with the tractor content? So it would only make, just off of that quiff, being privy to that bit of information would lead one to believe that anything that is taken down, Phil would have to know something about it or have his hands in it in some way, or his hooves. Let's be honest with each other.
So, all right. So tonight, guys, if you choose sub or tip, I'll give you a shout out on the stream. Thank you very much to anyone who does consider contributing. If you are going to contribute tonight, please tip me. No. That is the preferred method of contribution. It helps me out more than anything else, so please tip me if you can. Also, FYI, we are less than 10 subs away from hitting the monthly goal tonight. Just saying, we're pretty close. If you're thinking about maybe subbing and you haven't yet, now might be a good opportunity to do so. It'll help out if we hit the sub goal, right?
So, hint, hint, hint. Okay. So, first, Phil Chew, $1.69 said, what does tits for bits mean? Your chat spammed with it. I don't know, because I'm not paying any attention to the people in the chat saying tits for bits, because that's stupid as shit, and I don't, pay attention to stupid shit.
The men have titties, too. Carrie Man Star Beast just hit me $5 and says, hand over those beautiful titties. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Show me those titties, kid. Oh, my God. He goes, paralyzed. I know you're only here for the titties, so since you can't see my titties anymore, I know I'm going to probably, lose probably about half my viewership. Sorry, guys, no more tits.
By the way, I already just saw the pre-stream, but someone took me $1 asking about DMCA takedowns. No, I did not issue any DMCA takedowns. I have nothing to do with any of it. I haven't done that. In a bajillion years, I haven't even tried to do one. Last time I did one was on YouTube like 6 years ago or something crazy like that. Like, I don't do that shit. I don't bother with that. It's a waste of everyone's time. It's not me, so, don't bother me about it because I know nothing about it, okay?
Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone.
There's no way that he would there's no way that he would think someone would believe that at all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give me a second to kind of clean up. I'll give you guys final thoughts, and I will let you guys carry on with your day. Give me just a second.
Just gone like that. In an instant. Fucking gone. I just care about money. I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you.
That was a nice way to kind of close everything out, I think. Now let's give you guys final thoughts. So, Drama Queen versus Drama Queen. Make of that what you will. I would assume that'll blow over in a couple days. It wasn't a very good showing by either one of them, to be honest, so they're both at fault as far as I'm concerned. And it really wasn't going to benefit anybody. Just how they reacted to each other kind of proves that. Unless they went on like internet blood sports or some shit. I hear Ralph. I heard Ralph from the Ralphie Tour was trying to bring that back, so maybe that'd be a good debate over there, but otherwise not really. The truth is the best insult. It is, hence the reason why people get banned. That's the reason why people get suppressed over there. Phil can't handle the truth unlike anybody else. It's hard to hear the truth, and the reason why it's hard to hear the truth is because it's true. You know what I mean? And that's why lol cows can't handle criticism and whatnot. And that's why a lot of them are depressed. A lot of them drink a lot. A lot of them overeat. A lot of them do a lot of stupid shit, or they lash out at the people around them or the people that look up to them. all these things happen for a reason. If everybody could handle what was being said, I mean, it'd be a lot easier for everybody. But it's kind of just against human nature, though. A lot of people can't deal with criticism, and there's nothing wrong with that. But don't lash out at the people who give you criticism either. That's not going to help you. It only compels their case. But that's neither here nor there. When you have nothing else and you put your whole identity on this internet shit, for example, what do you expect? Let's see here. And then the thinnest skin, we already talked about that. So that was kind of two birds with one stone. As for new mods needed, like I said, whoever those individuals are who have paid the most will be the first candidates, I would guess, because it's a trust issue, and a lot of the trust is built through money. Hence the reason why Rich gave him money from the onset. You know what I'm saying? That was supposed to be like his tribute, if you will. Wasn't enough, but whatever. It was a good start. And then the DMCA takedowns against DSPArchives, as well as the detractor channels or accounts, I should say. Who knows? At the end of the day, like I said, the account was identified and whatnot, and they boasted about it. Then they backpedaled and said they had nothing to do about it, and they weren't doing it on DSP's account. Most people who are associated with DSP are liars anyway, just like him, so you'll never really get the truth. But it is what it is. The truth will come out eventually, and if it don't, Phil will take the fall for it anyway. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win either which way, sadly. And then and most people on Detractor Twitter, and if they don't, they should. You should have a backup account. Excuse me. You should have a backup account either which way. Because if not, things like this is going to happen. So it's just better to have a backup account. And that's just the reality of it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. See you guys for the next broadcast, whenever that may be. Hopefully sooner than later. Yet again, look out for the board meeting that's coming up. And then, like I said, there's one more rollout, which should start soon. And then I'm going to take a bit of a break. Not necessarily a hiatus, but a bit of a break and whatnot. I'm going to work on the second channel for a little bit, and then I'll be back. And hopefully I should have a consistent schedule to where content goes out on both of them weekly, if not bi-weekly. And we'll go from there. It might be bi-weekly at first, so it is what it is. But know that your cute pup in a sharp suit is always working. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes, a GTG Network and Productions. For the Snort Report and Tim Snortons. I've been your host / anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, guys. End of broadcast. Yeah.